world. There is the mathematics I'm experiencing, or the equations, the numbers, the formations, the symbols, everything coming together as one. I'm able to see in the dimensions, and it is far and beyond any human being's mind, because a mind is not able to perceive or even conceive what exists in the dimensions. I mean, I'm not saying the dimensions are separate from here, yet I'm saying that the dimensions have access to quantum time, have access to quantum realization, and have access to quantum seeing. In other words, I'm able to see in one moment the equations, the answers, the numbers, the symbols, everything in one moment of all of existence. And I mean, that's amazing, but also scary, because then you start thinking, or start looking at the realization, but am I just a mathematical equation? Am I just numbers? Am I just symbols? And am I a slave to this movement of programmed equations? Because that's basically what systems are. They're programmed. And what do you use in systems to program systems? You use equations, you use numbers, you use symbols. Therefore, it is fascinating that human beings are no different than computers. We've built a presentation of ourselves in this world in the form of a computer. And human beings are no different than that. And then you ask the question, okay, so if I'm related and specifically equated to a computer, then who programmed me? Because a computer and programs on a computer requires programming. The chips require designing. It requires a designer, it requires a programmer, basically it requires a creator. So then you start asking, but who created me? Who created this expression of myself, who I perceive myself to be? Is this really me? Is this who I am? Or am I merely following a programmed setup, a program that have been placed inside me at birth? And that's what I realized. I realized that my life here on earth was no different than a program. It was no different than a program that had been, that had programs running inside it. And that's what these systems are inside human beings. They're systems that have the ability to be programmed. And human beings have been programmed for aeons of time. And you know, it's quite an astounding thought, you know. It's quite an astounding realization if you really have a look at, but Jesus, you know, Jesus Christ, am I like really a computer program? My body is the vehicle, is the computer, and my mind is a program that's running the whole time. And those thoughts and those emotions and those feelings are basically the power source where you plug the computer in. And that's basically it. That's basically really it. That's what human beings are. They're just like computers. We've manifested ourselves in the form of a computer in today's world. And the creators of ourselves would be those interdimensional beings who have decided to enslave humanity. And that's a realization I've been, well, Jesus, the realization sounds rather, spiritually, religionally. It's not that. It's the truth. I mean, that's what's going on in this world. Human beings are computers. And you are that computer, and you are that computer program that's on the computer. If your thoughts are running, if your emotions are running, and your feelings are running, and you're part of this entire system, which is the world and humanity, and everyone's supporting each other and remaining as these computer systems with programs running inside them. Human beings are no different. It's really, you are like computers walking around, and there's programs programmed into you, and you're living your life according to that, to your programmed life, to your programmed experience, and to your programmed insets that's been placed into you at birth. I mean, and that's quite astounding to realize that who you are is not you, that what you're experiencing is not you that's experiencing it. What you're experiencing is pre-programmed. What you've become is pre-programmed. Everything was already done for you when you were born. I mean, how do you work with that? How do you assist yourself through realizing that, you know, just imagine that everything you are now is a lie. that everything you are now is not true, that everything you are now has been pre-programmed by something else for you to become its slave, to be controlled. I mean, that's quite an horrendous realization, and you know, that's what I realized when I got to the dimensions after a time, and especially when computers started being developed more high-tech as they are now. Human beings are giving themselves the answers in this world through the building of computers. So, I suppose this realization will probably be felt deep in some beings who really start realizing and looking at your life and thinking, you know, is anything that is here and that I'm experiencing true? You know, is this what I'm feeling me? Is this what I'm thinking me? No, it's not. I'm able to say that to you with certainty. And there are many beings going to be coming through that will give you some perspective, some assistance. You know, if you don't want to experience yourself as a pre-programmed computed robot, because that's what human beings have become. And you know, the mathematics that you're currently doing is child's play. Even myself, when I was here, it's nothing compared to the mathematical numerical equations that exist in this, in all of existence. And yeah, that's about what I have to say. You know, I'm quite a boring person, I suppose, to listen to. Well, not boring, but you know, just maybe take that into consideration. Maybe just look at, if you really would have now discovered the truth like I did from the dimensions, and you know, I wouldn't prefer for you to have to first die and find that you still exist, and that you that died wasn't really you, that you were really a pre-programmed system, and you were believing that these thoughts and these feelings and emotions that was running inside you was you, when instead it was a system that was programmed, and you believed it to be you. I mean, that is quite a explosive realization. So, that's what I have to say, and that's all I have to say at the moment. So, this is Albert Einstein, and I am checking out.